of the name of it right off the top of my head. They tore it down. It was like in an old building. It was kind of, I can't even think of the name of the place.
Might have been the Hippodrome or something like that.
Maybe so. And one of the only other reasons I'd like to stop in there was that George's hamburger place there. I think that place closed down too.
Well, George's is still around. I will tell you, and I went ahead just because it is what it is. I'm recording right now just to let you know. But
okay.
Right. Waco is like, it's a weird. I've been to, I moved to Waco because I thought it was going to just be like the other two towns I lived. I lived in College Station before with Northgate and Hurricane Harry's and all those places. And then I lived in Manhattan, Kansas, where it was very similar because they had Aggieville and they had Longhorns Saloon, which you might have played at before. A lot of people have been to there.
I definitely played there. I know we did a big show there one time with Reckless Kelly.
Yeah.
I remember off the top of my head.
So then
so you were a double Aggie, huh? You went.
Yeah, I went both places. I was a double Aggie. And so then I go I'm going to go to Waco because I was in radio. So in radio, you travel around all the time. You go to different markets. And I was like, oh, it's a Big 12 school. It's a college town. Probably going to be very similar to College Station in Manhattan. And then I get here and I'm like, I really should have read more about Baylor. I really should have brushed up on my holy shit, is there nothing going on in this Baptist town?
Well, I think they're well on their way now, at least. The next few years, I see that big stadium going up every time I drive through there on 35, and looks pretty impressive.
Well, let me set it up real nice here. We are, of course, this is the Least Dangerous Podcast. JC King here. We're talking to a true Red Dirt legend, a great singer-songwriter, and a guy that almost got me fired from radio. It's the one and only Brandon Jenkins.
Good to be here. I hate to think how did I almost get you fired?
I used to, when I was in Manhattan, Kansas, I used to host this show called I think it was called Red Dirt Road. It was every Sunday night, 7 to 9, and because I'm a Texas guy, they let me play the Texas, what I call Texas country. Some people call Red Dirt, but they let me host the show. And I would take requests, and sometimes, now this is back in the MySpace days, and if I didn't have a song, I would just find it on MySpace and play it off of just right there live, not even thinking about it. Somebody called in and said, hey, can you play Brandon Jenkins' Finger on the Trigger? So I said, I'm going to cue it up. Put it on, let it roll. Next thing I know, it's like, and I'm too fucked up. And I was like, oh my God, I'm going to get fired. I'm going to...
I think that's not a really unique experience. I've heard a lot of people say that,
I bet you've got many a DJ fired in the nation.
I have, I've cost a lot of families their income. But no, I'm just kidding. And there is an actual edited version, but a lot of people don't even pay attention to that. So I'm glad that we didn't get a fine from the FCC on it.
I love that you use the F word in some of your songs and things like that, because I'm just like, it's like a thing that I feel like people can confine themselves. One of the reasons that I love about the podcast and doing it is because every time I've had to interview somebody else from Texas country, it's always on a country station that plays, the Toby Keiths and the Brad Paisleys and all that. So you have to watch what you say. But the truth is, country can be a confining genre, and you don't really let it do that to you.
I've always kind of been a rebel and an outlaw, and kind of like to expand as much as I could. And fuck is my favorite word. Can we say that on your show? I'm sorry.
Fuck yes. Go ahead, sir.
Okay. Fuck is it is one of my favorite words. It can be used as a noun, or hey, that guy's a fuck, or it could be a verb, it could be an adjective, it can be used pretty much any way. It's pretty much my favorite word, and so I try to work it in as much as I can.
Yeah, it's great. I love that it's in country music. I'm curious. I don't know much about you personally, but I think about it because fuck is like a word that I use a lot. And sometimes it got to the point, there was a point where I was like, it's a perfect filler word too. So sometimes you could just be talking, but then where people would use like or and or I would find myself replacing it with fucks. Has this ever happened to you?
Yeah. Yeah, I really truly believe that just the concept of curse words or some forbidden word is is something of the past. I don't think. I mean, who's really offended by fuck or shit or any other word? I mean, you go to an elementary school and you're going to hear more of that than anywhere else. So who's really getting offended? I think it's silly to think that if we arrange some nouns and consonants in this order, then now we're offended by it.
Yeah.
Pretty silly. But, I think there's always been a kind of a word police that's always trying to, police our language, because in the end, language describes reality. And if you take a word away, then, you're taking away a piece of reality.
When I always thought, kind of like what you're saying, that there's no such thing as a dirty word. Like, it's stupid to say this word is dirty or this word's not. And then most of the time when people say there's a curse word, they'll still replace it. Like, you won't use shit, but you'll use shoot. But you're really, what are you saying? You're saying the same word. You mean the same thing.
Exactly. Funny little games we play with ourselves in society.
Yeah, but I've recently come to a crossroads where I've had to rethink this, because now, and that's why I said I don't know if you're personally where you're at, but I'm a dad and I have a 2-year-old, and then my 2-year-old said fuck one time, and then I rethought the whole thing and I was like, are there dirty words? What am I doing? I don't know. So it was oddly changed my perspective quite quickly.
I can see, then they're going out and being a reflection of that. But, luckily I don't have any kids.
Oh, there you
I
go.
can say fuck all I want. If somebody else's kid says it, he's more the better.
Oh, man. Well, I do appreciate the honesty in your music and the things that you bring to it. And when you're doing when you're writing stuff, I know you are doing a lot of solo acoustic shows now. Is that right?
Yeah, we're in the process of putting out a new CD that's coming out on May 27th.
Yeah.
It's an all acoustic CD. So in accordance with that, we're doing a lot more acoustic shows. Yeah.
Do you ever write differently if you're writing an acoustic song versus? Do you ever think about that, or do you just write songs and some fall into this category, some fall into that, or?
Well, I don't really just sit down and think I'm going to write an acoustic song or an electric one, but definitely when I have that instrument in my hand and I'm, I never really sit down and go, okay, I'm going to write a song. It's more that I just have the guitar in my hand and I'm doodling all day watching TV.
Is it mostly on an acoustic when you're writing and stuff?
It's mainly because it's hard to play the electric real loud while your wife's watching TV or whatever.
Yeah.
So a lot of times but what I was going to say is it definitely has a different vibe. When I'm writing with the acoustic, it's usually more of a lyric-oriented song.
Yeah.
But when I've got my electric, it's more of a riff-oriented song. I'll start off with some sort of cool lick, and then I'll base the song around it. So
yeah,
there's definitely a kind of a different process on the different.
Do you ever worry, because you said, that you worry, or not worry, but you say that there's a lot of language police and content police out there. I talk to comedians on my show a lot, and one thing that they're encountering in the comedy world, and one thing we're running into in the radio world, is the thing where you can say something and then all of a sudden your whole career is ruined. You've messed everything up. Do you ever run into that kind of stuff as a songwriter? Do you worry about maybe I won't write it this way, or maybe I won't write it that way, or?
Well, I don't, but looking back on my career, maybe I should have. I have had some things happen to me, where I put out a song called "Blood for Oil," which I'm not sure if you heard it or not. But
no, I did not know this one. When did this come out?
This came out maybe maybe 5 or 6 years ago.
Oh wow!
And, up until that point, every single that I had put out down in Texas had reached the top 10. Yeah. So I had at least 10 top 10 singles. And, we felt strongly about the song, and it's pretty hardcore on the administration at the time. And after we put that song out, I've never had a song that's made it out of the 20s. You know what I mean?
So did you get Dixie Chicksed? Is that what happened?
I did get the Dixie Chicks treatment with, but I did it without getting the slapback liberal fans. You know what I mean? It's like they kind of got a whole new fan base. I just kind of pissed all mine off, you know.
That is true. Like, that's one thing that the people don't talk about with the Dixie Chicks is they really did. Like, because they did that, all of a sudden they got this support from a totally different vibe, and you put out a song, and you just pissed a bunch of people off.
And their comment was a lot more subtle than mine was. You know, the song. I think the lyric on the song was, "GW don't give a fuck. He just drives around his ranch in his pickup truck. His daddy's boys done hooked him up since he started trading blood for oil."
Holy shit! Yeah, that's a lot more hardcore than I'm embarrassed. Bush is from the country, from the state of Texas. Jesus. Oh man!
But, you know, I got a lot of slack for that. I even got death threats over that song.
Are you serious?
Yeah, I think when I did it in College Station, I think that's actually where I debuted that song.
That's such bullshit, man. That's why I say, like, country can be a confining genre because, like, they think that if you're country, you have to be right wing. You have to, you know, be conservative. You have to sing about family tradition shit. And I don't know, man. Like, I like this. Like, Steve Earle did a song about going to fight a rich man's war. I'm sure you've heard that song. And holy shit! Like, when I heard that, I was like, or Todd Snyder, who does a lot of songs about stuff like that. When I hear guys like Steve Earle, Todd Snyder, yourself, I'm like, this is cool that they're still embracing the roots of the genre, but you're not like saying all I have to sing about is this. That's kind of ballsy. You had to know when you were putting that out, you kind of had to know you were going to get some feedback on that one.
I did. But as I said, I felt strongly about it. And looking back, I'd probably do the same thing over again. And I think, one of these days people will look back at it and rediscover that song. And
well, by the way, even if people don't change their minds on the song or how you felt, you were totally justified by history. Like, everybody now kind of goes like, oh yeah, Iraq, what a fucked up mess that was. You could never say that, 5, 6, I guess longer than that, 5 or 6 years ago though, it was still kind of taboo. And now, like, everybody's like, oh no, we really should not have been involved in that at all. That was really a mess.
Yeah. Well, the funny thing about that song is the next verse of that song was talking about the new administration coming in, and a lot of people did get hung up on that Bush line and were, oh, he's a liberal and he ain't, and I'm not. On social issues, I am. I'm definitely liberal, but I'm for a balanced budget and a small government and a lot of different points of the conservative party. But at the same time, I'm for gay marriage and I'm for legalizing drugs, and but at the same time I carry a gun too. So I don't know what that makes me.
But don't you think that makes you about the actual majority of the country, not the people who are on TV, but like I think most people I know, they don't give a shit about gay marriage or anything like that, but they also kind of go like, but I also believe in you shouldn't write a check that your ass can't cash, like
exactly.
You don't have to be, it's a weird world we live in where they think that you have to be, oh, you don't like Bush, you must be full on liberal and believe everything like everything that the Democrat Party believes. And you're like, no, not really. I didn't like that guy, but I may not like this guy either,
Yeah, I don't believe anything either side is saying, it's kind of like Bill Hicks used to talk about. Is like you realize that it's just a guy with he's got his right side puppet and then his left side puppet, but it's the same dude that's got both puppets on his hands. There's no difference. In the end, it's about the almighty dollar, and that's what it's always been about. It's nothing new. That's
a great reference, man. I not a lot of people know Bill Hicks, so I'm glad you do, man. It's he's one of the funniest dudes out there.
Especially if you're in Waco, though. I saw there's like some weird obscure video of him on. You can go see on YouTube of him at the Mount Carmel there.
Oh yeah.
Yeah.
I have got to go check that out. Bill Hicks at Mount Carmel in Waco.
Yeah.
Holy shit.
That's a recipe for trouble right there.
Oh my goodness, man. Yeah, it's are you from, because I don't know, are you from, because Bill Hicks was a Houston, Texas guy, and I always think about people still being very proud of Texas, people like that have that Texas personality, like Kinky Friedman or Bill Hicks. Or are you from Texas, Oklahoma? Where are you from?
I'm from Tulsa originally. I spent most of my years there. I lived over in Stillwater, Oklahoma for about 5 years. And,
yeah.
I've been down in Austin, Texas the last 12 years.
Yeah.
So I feel like I'm a Texan. I know the Pledge of Allegiance to the Texas flag. You know that?
Yeah, I do not know that. I didn't even know there was one.
That, it says honor the Texas flag. I pledge allegiance to thee, Texas, one state, under God, one and indivisible.
Damn.
I think that makes me a Texan. Right?
More so than me, sir. Holy shit. Oh, man. So you got to, I do want to talk a little bit, of course, what you're known for the best is these great songs that you've written, your performances. You've got huge songs like, the ones that everybody knows, like Down in Flames, My Feet Don't Touch the Ground. The Whole World's my favorite that you've ever done still. I jam it all the time because I really identify with it, was The Whole World's Gone Crazy. But
thank you.
As a singer-songwriter, when you write a song but it becomes popularized by another artist, does that bug you, or do you go man, that's my song, come on, damn it?
Yeah, no, it's actually flattering to me. I get a kick hearing somebody my song. Though sometimes, every once in a while, I could get irritated just when people come up to me at my shows and go, "Hey man, play that Blue Edmondson song you do."
Oh really? I wrote that fucker. Don't you get it? I wrote that song.
But I do get a kick when Blue or Stoney or any of those guys. To me, it's and I sure do hate going to the mailbox. I hate that part of it.
Do you get the checks? Is that how it works? You get the residual checks and stuff?
That's right.
Yeah, that's not too bad.
And that's the way to do it right there. You let them go out on the road and run around, and I'll just kick back and write the songs.
By the way, I had kind of you popped back on my radar in a big way last year because I got addicted to this app called Vine. And it was a weird addiction because it lasted for 6 months of constant vining. And then I don't think I've done it in 6 months, but you were always vining.
I know it. I was the same way. When I discovered it, I just went crazy, and it was pretty much just a way to occupy my mind when I'm on the road, have a lot of downtime. And, but after going back and looking at it, I'm like, man, I'm a lonely dude that just hangs out of my van all the time.
Well, that was it. It was always, I think if I remember correctly, it was always Walking Man. And you're like, Walking Man, Walking Man. And it was just you walking around a town all day. That's what it basically seemed like. Every Vine was kind of like that.
I still do it. We did it last night. I was on stage there in Fort Worth at a big show, and I just pulled it out and told everybody to wave at the camera.
Then I think you did a Vine, and I was like, did he just do what I think he did? I'm pretty sure you did a Vine where you were outside of either outside of the show or getting ready to go in, or it was after a show, and you were hanging out with somebody just smoking weed out in the. Oh, yeah. And it was on Vine, and I was like, is he just smoking weed? Check it out, I'm smoking weed.
But that's how I've always kind of been like that. I grew up. My parents were hippies. They smoked marijuana, and I started smoking at an early age, and to me, it's not to get heavy or anything. It's not really partying. To me, it's a sacrament. I do it every day. It's part of my spiritual training. And
oh wow,
I think I don't think it should just be legal. I think it should be mandatory. I think when you look at people, you can kind of divide them into people that's done it and the people that haven't, and you can kind of see you can almost tell who's done it and who hasn't.
Yeah.
By where their consciousness is, and you're not going to expand your consciousness drinking alcohol or taking cocaine or any kind of drugs, but every time that I've done that, I feel like it does expand my consciousness.
It's a weird reflective.
There's no shame in my game.
Yeah, it's a weird reflective kind of drug, you know, like, and I'll be honest, like I was like, if they could just do what they did in Colorado and Texas, I'm pretty sure I would smoke it every day. But then there's that side of me that's like so paranoid about like cops and drug tests and stuff like that. I'm like, oh my God, I don't know, like, you know, this whole thing. And, but I do know, like, it's such, because people do compare it, which is weird in our society, to alcohol. It's a much different drug, and you have a much different experience if you're smoking marijuana than versus if you're getting drunk, you know?
Yeah, there's never been a person that's OD'd on marijuana.
Yeah.
In the history of the world. You know, people aren't out causing trouble. But at the same time, you know, I don't really want my accountant smoking a joint before he does the taxes, you know what I'm saying? But, you know, I'm an artist. I think as an artist, I think it's perfectly fine.
Do you do it before you write or before you're creative?
I do it. Yeah, I do. But I'm one of those kind of guys that I have it with my coffee in the morning, and you know.
You do it all. You sound like, because you said you know it's like a sacrament. Do you do like meditation or anything as well? Is that part of it, or?
Oh yeah. Well, I try to do meditation every day. It's kind of, you know, over the years, just trying to. I don't know. I've been in this business for 20 years.
Yeah.
I've had all kinds of different phases of addiction, and I mean, you know, everybody's seen behind the music. It's no different for me. But other than, you know, what I would classify clean and sober, pretty much for the last, you know, 12, 15 years. And part of my maintenance just to keep myself together. You know, it's tough on your body and your mind and your spirit out on the road.
Well, I've heard of people that do a lot of like TM and transcendental meditation and stuff like that. And I know the people that do meditation really do. It's very cleansing for like the spirit and the soul and all that kind of stuff. So I know that's a... Yeah.
Definitely, man. You know, I've been trying to get into yoga and just anything I can to trying to keep me going. You know, the stronger I am, the more I can keep doing what I'm doing. And
I am curious about this too, because it was like, if I was going to do experiences of my life, like no other was the one, and it only happened once, but I always talk about it still, was I had a true from top to bottom like trip on mushrooms, like a hallucinogenic experience. And it was like what you're talking about experiencing with like expanding your consciousness and stuff like that. It really was like, I don't know, like my mind thought differently, and I felt like I had figured things out that afterwards I couldn't think the same. I don't know. Maybe I was just high and stupid. I don't know, man.
No, I had the same experience. You know, when I was younger, I did a lot of hallucinogenics, from, you know, LSD to shrooms, which was always my favorite.
Yeah.
And we were the same way. We would think we'd solved the riddles of the universe, but then when we came down, we couldn't remember it. So we were like, okay, next time we do it, we're gonna have a tape recorder going so we can think of these great ideas.
It is.
When we listened back to it, it was like total nonsense.
It really is another level experience. But it's shrooms. And if you grew up in the country like I did, it wasn't like you went and bought shrooms. Like you went and like found them like old school style. At least that's how all my trips went. But anyway, so we talked about a lot of things you could never talk about in a radio interview. But what's like one of the things that maybe a road story or something you ended up doing that was just like, holy shit, that was a crazy night. I can't believe that happened. Like, I know there's probably a million of them, but give me one good one, man.
One that just came off the first one that popped into my mind, I was thinking about my old buddy, Stoney LaRue. Me and him, you know, we wrote Down in Flames together, which actually we wrote it right outside of Waco there in Bruceville, Eddy.
Oh, wow.
But I was thinking, you know, that guy is such a crazy spirit. I was out on the road with him, and you know, Stoney, he'll stay up and party all night long till the sun comes up.
Yeah.
Every single night, you know, and then he gets up at 3 o'clock after me. But I'm not that guy, you know. I've gotten older. I get up at 8 o'clock in the morning, whether I want to or not. So I called it, you know, an early night and went back to the room.
Yeah.
And I wake up a couple hours later, and there's a policeman in my room, and he's shining a light in my face.
Oh,
and
shit.
He was like, get out of the bed. I mean, he was kind of rough, got me out of the bed, put me against the wall, and said he had to tell there was marijuana smoking in there. And I was like, man, I was just asleep. I don't know what's going on.
What's going on? Yeah.
So he handcuffs me and takes me and jerks me out of there.
Holy shit.
Me out. And as soon as we get outside, Stoney's out there laughing. He sent this cop in there to get me out of bed at the party.
He just told a cop to go in and like fake arrest you.
Yeah.
And the cop did it.
Then the cop partied with us all night long.
Holy shit, dude. That's awesome, man. That's where like life on the road, there's like, it's got to be weird because there's like down times and then up times. And so like all the like weird, long, boring days probably get made up for when you have like experiences like that, you know, or there's a great crowd or something.
Yeah. You know, when you lay them all out after a long time, there's a lot of them. But like I said, there's a lot of just, you know, like right now we've been on a 300-mile drive from Fort Worth to Tulsa, and we're almost there. But
wow.
A lot of just buzzing down the road and listening to the podcast and radio or whatever.
Do you do the? I won't keep you too much longer, but do you do the Joe Rogan podcast? Because you seem like a guy that would do the Joe Rogan podcast.
I listen to a little bit, but the main one I listen to is Adam Carolla.
Oh yeah,
probably my favorite one. But I listen to Joe, and I listen to Mark Maron sometimes. But yeah, to me, that's a whole new world. I like it. I really dig the podcast thing. It's
a new frontier, man. It's like a whole. Like, it's kind of like when radio was like in the 80s and they were like all these guys were springing up out of nowhere and they were trying to figure it out. It's kind of like what's going on in podcasting now. There's everybody out there just trying to figure it out and doing it, you know?
Yeah. I mean, there's no rules. It's pretty much if people dig what you're doing, they're going to listen.
Isn't that more freeing? Because that'll bring me in kind of like my theme with music today. Isn't that like for an artist today, like I do something much different than you do, but because of the internet and because of the things like podcasting and everything like that, being a creative person, it's so much easier to distribute and get an audience and reach out to people than it was when you used to have to go through, you know, if I was going to do this kind of show back in the day, I'd have to get a program director to approve it. They never would have approved this kind of conversation, and I'd have to, everything would be censored. And then for you as an artist, you can just put your shit out there now on your own. And people like, he's a rap guy, but Macklemore has won a Grammy now, and he never, ever used a record label, and he has a multi-platinum record. So it's like, as an artist, is this a very cool, exciting time, or is it also suck dick because there's no money in it? Or, you know, like, how's that?
Well, you know, I think it's kind of a combination of both. I mean, nobody's selling as many records as they were 10 years ago. You know, it's but at the same time, other revenue streams have opened up where, you know, where anybody can, you know, if you can get the crowd, then you can do. You don't have to have a middleman, or, you know, you don't need to drive your fans to retail.
Yeah.
If you have a website and a you know, a Twitter following, no matter where you go, those guys are your fans from here on. You know what I'm saying? They're there, and they're just constantly building, and they're gonna even if you gave away your music for free, which we've done a lot more of, and I kind of think that's going to be the paradigm of the future. Is you're just gonna give it away, and then you're gonna have to find your revenue stream somewhere else, either at the show with you know, merchandising or licensing, or, you know, I don't know.
Is there still a lot of money in touring? Because I heard touring is where some good money is.
Well, yeah. I mean, you know, and has the ups and downs of that as well. You know, I mean, at the same time, everybody can find out where you are. Yeah. But also, there's not that mystery. It's like, well, I can just watch him on YouTube. Or I can watch, you know, it's not like, well, I have to get him because he's here in my town. Or I'll catch the, you know, the video stream of it. Or So, but I think in the end, I think it's a great time to be alive. I mean, internet porn. I mean, it's been like our dream for millennia, hasn't it?
That is true. It is. I think about when I was a kid and when I was like 13 or 14 and I had to seek out, like looking in like my dad's and my uncle's closets and things like that, trying to find any kind of pornographic material. And now it's like all you have to do is just have a phone and it's right there. It's really insane.
I've spent 30 minutes trying to sneak the Playboy down from the top shelf at the convenience store so I can put it inside my Mad magazine.
Yeah, exactly.
You can just get double fisting porn, at the drop of a hat, even if you're 10 years old. I don't know. See, I don't know how that's
gonna fuck up a lot of kids, man.
It's gonna make them more twisted or make them more apathetic, where they're just like,
Have you?
Like,
have you ever been on oh my God, you just started a thought that I had, but I got to ask you, have you ever been on one of those like porn sites though, and there's that one link that you just go, no, I can't click that, because if I click that, I may never come back from that. I just can't do it.
I consider myself a porn explorer.
You're braving the Wild West, man. All right, man.
The FBI's watching my computer right now.
All right, man. Well, I tell you what do you have? That's about as good as it gets right there, a porn explorer. What do you have lined up in 2014, man? What's going on this year? What should people know about?
Well, the CD that's coming out on May 27th, called My Standalone. And I totally forgot to mention, I just gotten a cool major publishing deal with BMG, so I'm going to be doing a lot of writing.
Oh, shit.
Going over back and forth between Texas and Nashville a lot this year. I know I'm going on a big cruise to Mexico with Pat Green in September, which I think you can still get on that if you want to come.
Oh, that's awesome.
But you shoot just all kinds of exciting festivals and stuff over the summer. I think that's all.
So you get that publishing deal. You're going to be walking to your mailbox a lot more for some of those envelopes,
I'm hoping to. I'm hoping to. I can stay home more.
Whatever you do, don't pull a Jamie Johnson. If you write a fucking honky tonk badunkadunk, I don't even know if I can look at you the same way again.
Yeah, that's what he did it right. He did that, let somebody else do it, and then he can do what he wants, and he just throws his beers and goes back and forth between the mailbox. That's the way to do it.
That's a fair point. He did buy his freedom with that one. He bought his freedom with honky tonk badunkadunk.
Yeah, he's got the FU money now. He don't have to listen to it.
All right, man. Well, it is the amazing Brandon Jenkins, a hugely gifted singer-songwriter, a true Red Dirt legend, a guy that you can find on the road all the time, and sounds like he's going to be doing a bunch of exciting stuff in the future. You might even hear some more of his songs out there. If he's doing Nashville, who the hell knows is going to be doing your music then, man? It could go pretty crazy then.
Man, I'll tell you what, I stand out in Nashville, that's for sure. In Austin, I blend in, but in Nashville, in the land of golf shirts, I definitely stand out.
All right, man. Well, good luck to you, and I hope you get lots of envelopes. And I cannot thank you enough, dude. You are a badass, and your fucking music is awesome. And I don't know, man. I can't say enough. Thank you so much for joining me, man. You're awesome.
I appreciate it. Thank you, brother.